recently we have data mined a bunch of new models of Tyrande and Sylvanas, more than likely indicating that a pretty significant cutscene will be present in 9.2 that is still not available with these two characters. However, even more interestingly, a new unique Sylvanas jumping animation has been data mined as well. All things are hinting that this is somehow related to her jumping right into the maw, but it could also be related to Azeroth or even some of her previous memory that she's reliving. So what exactly is this new data mine information, and is this really a hint for the ending of the Shadowlands? Record your raids, arenas, Mythic Plus, all with Squadowy, the app that you just install and it records itself without a click of a button. Aside from watching your friend's perspective and analyzing your performance, you can see complete encounter stats, spell visualizations, and a bunch of other things. Best of all, it can be done from anywhere, just from the web app. Check out Squadowy completely free with my link in the description. In one of the most recent PTR builds, we had data mined some updated models of Sylvanas, Clea, Pelagos, and Tyrande, which obviously indicates some type of a cinematic. Some of them we have even seen. There is even the owl that is so prominently following Tyrande pretty much since forever. However, the most important information is something we have data mined a few weeks back, and that is a new Sylvanas jump animation. Immediately, you may be thinking, really, who cares about a jump animation? Every character has a jump animation, and personally, I didn't really look into this information as soon as it came out, and I really thought the same thing, but when you examine it, you realize that it is actually quite unique and may be a huge spoiler for what is to come in the future and how this expansion will actually end. The most common theory people have been talking about is this is one of the animations that will be used for Sylvanas reliving her memories, and while I do think that could be possible, I don't really think that is actually likely. As you may have seen by now, we are reforging the Helm of Domination, we are going through memories of those that were wronged by the Lich King, and Sylvanas here is obviously at the very top of this list. This is also in line with the soft redemption they have really been going with, as Uther is currently being her therapist for some reason, and we are going through what she had experienced throughout all these years. Now, one of these cutscenes that you've probably already seen is in regards to Arthas, and we know that after we defeated the Lich King, she jumped off the frozen throne, actually threw herself, died, and then it is more than likely at this point that she formed the infamous pact with Zobel. In fact, they pretty much confirmed that it was this point. So because of this, people have been saying that this animation will be used in a cinematic that we are yet to uncover that will simply present us her reliving the Ice Crown scene when she threw herself off. However, I really don't think that is the case. Here is the main reason why I don't think it is likely, and that lies in actually examining this jump. The main thing about this is the actual animation seems like a really confident jump, as in she is going down there with a purpose, she's going somewhere. She does a pretty big leap from standing and then does a roll in mid-air and then just goes straight as an arrow down, as if she's purposefully going somewhere. This, in my opinion, is much the opposite to the time she threw herself off the frozen throne. Obviously, we haven't seen how that looked, but I would say there was more of an act of desperation and just no purpose, and you would expect that this jump would be more as a free fall, as in she would just throw herself and, you know, let the wind take her wherever she would go. However, in the case of this data mined animation, that doesn't really seem to be the case. It seriously looks as if she's just directing herself to enter something, to reach something, and to probably do something. Now, a few theories are going around in regards to what this could be, but I think the most obvious one, and where we are also jumping into since the start of this expansion, is the Maw. At the moment, there doesn't seem to be any other place where you would need to do such a huge jump into with a purpose. We know it is possible to fall into the Maw and land safely, and the Maw is, as you would expect, this mysterious whirl of energy just under Oribos. However, the actual question is, why would she even do that? Well, that leads us into other information that we have in regards to the 9.2 PTR. There have been data mined voice lines where she says that she submits herself to the judgment of Tyrande Whisperwind, and this is most likely going to be related to the finale of the Shadowlands. What this could mean exactly, we can only speculate, but I'm guessing this happens after the jailer is out of the picture and she fulfills her purpose. As we had seen in the Shattered Legacy cinematic as well as the PTR, the current Sylvanas is actually the one with the reunited soul and mainly the Ranger General, no longer the evil Banshee Queen, so it doesn't seem like she will attempt to escape punishment, but it seems like she's just trying to undo at least a bit of what she had done to all of us just this past decade. This even goes in line with some of the Datamind lines that talks about most likely her setting things straight. So the most prominent speculation is that after the judgment of Tyrande, she jumps into the Maw, more than likely to do something with those Night Elven souls that are seemingly lost forever. Obviously, she was personally responsible for all of them ending up in the Maw, like she literally did all this stuff. She was the right hand of the jailer, so she must know the inner workings of this dark realm, and now with the jailer gone, there might be a way to dismantle them all and actually free all of those that had suffered there for who knows how long. Obviously, it is hard to connect this because I'm not sure how much Sylvanas can do and what she can do, but it could 100% explain this newly added animation. Really, when you look at it, it makes sense. We defeat the jailer, Pelagos becomes the arbiter, Shadowlands is now back in balance, and we return to the city of Oribos. Now, we still have the Maw lingering around, so who better to use this to just get this place out of our face than Sylvanas? It would explain why she's jumping with such a purpose, and the diving aspect makes the most amount of sense as the Maw is right under Oribos, so she could jump from there. Now, two other theories have been going around, although I think a lot less likely and with less justification. So the first one relates to her freeing Nathanos and something happening there, possibly jumping into the Maw to find Nathanos. This even seems quite likely, as there is a Datamind voice line of her saying that she will find him no matter what, and he's still obviously mysteriously missing. So this could explain the intent, but the weak side here is the actual context. When would this happen? Before or after the defeat of the jailer? And how would that tie into the entire story? Second theory that I also think makes sense is in regards to her ultimate sacrifice to save the Azeroth's world soul. We still don't know how the final fight will play out, but we know that it involves our world soul and a bunch of Azerite and the jailer, and there are Azerite streams right within the sepulchre in Zereth Mortis. So she could throw herself there to maybe become an avatar or something of the sort, as it could be possible that the jailer may be close to actually winning, and Sylvanas would be the one to turn the tide. Honestly, from Blizzard's recent history, I'd expect such predictable storytelling, so it wouldn't really be surprising. However, what is contradicting is some of the information, as it does seem like Sylvanas survives this fight, although of course it still isn't certain what exactly happens. In my opinion though, I think the most likely scenario involves something to do with her going into the Maw. It seems to be the place that would sync perfectly well with this grand jump animation from the distance to the intent, although on what exactly will happen there and what Sylvanas could do in the Maw, we can really only speculate, as right now that is about as much as we actually know. Thank you for watching. Check out how we haven't won at the end of Shadowlands by clicking on the screen, and check out Doran's Academy for videos on real world history. See you next time.